Let's get started. Start with listening, and then learn new words and practice them in sentences.
Have you ever wondered what moment marked the birth of the United States as an independent nation? The journey to becoming the United States we know today began on a pivotal day in history, the 4th of July, 1776. It was on this day that the Declaration of Independence was signed, an act that would forever alter the course of history. This was no ordinary document. It was a bold assertion of independence and self-governance, a proclamation that the 13 colonies were free from British rule. The declaration was born out of a desire to carve out a destiny separate from Britain, one where the colonies could govern themselves and create their own laws. The effects of this momentous event were far-reaching. The signing of the Declaration of Independence ended the colonial era and ushered in a new age of independence and self-governance. It was a catalyst for change, sparking a revolution that would eventually lead to the formation of the United States of America. But the signing of the Declaration of Independence did more than just free the colonies from British rule. It also set forth a new philosophy. It was the first time the principles of liberty, equality, and the pursuit of happiness were articulated as the bedrock of a new nation. This philosophy, this revolutionary idea that a nation could be built on principles of liberty and equality, became the foundation of the United States. It shaped the country's identity, defining what it meant to be an American. It influenced the creation of the Constitution and the Bill of Rights, documents that continue to guide the nation's laws and policies to this day. The signing of the Declaration of Independence was more than just a historical event. It was a defining moment that set the course for the future of the United States. It marked the birth of a nation and laid the groundwork for the principles and values that continue to shape American identity. So, the signing of the Declaration of Independence was a defining moment that marked the birth of a nation and set the course for its future. What event nearly tore the United States apart, yet ultimately led to a stronger, more unified nation? If you're thinking about the Civil War, you're spot on. From 1861 to 1865, the United States grappled with a conflict that was as profound as it was destructive, a war that shook the very foundations of the nation. So what sparked this internal strife? The simple answer is slavery, but as with many historical events, the full story is more complex. The Civil War was a culmination of long-standing tensions between the North and the South, primarily over the contentious issue of slavery. The North, with its burgeoning industrial economy, was moving toward a society where slavery was unnecessary. The South, on the other hand, with its agricultural economy, was heavily dependent on slave labor. These differences in economic structure and societal norms led to a clash of ideologies. The South wanted to maintain its way of life, which included slavery, while the North sought to abolish this institution. This ideological clash eventually escalated into a full-blown war, a war that would decide the fate of the United States and the institution of slavery. The Civil War was a brutal and bloody affair, claiming the lives of over 600,000 Americans. However, out of the ashes of this devastating conflict, a new, stronger nation arose. The end of the Civil War marked the abolition of slavery, a monumental step towards equality. But the effects of the Civil War went beyond the abolition of slavery. It also led to a strengthening of federal power. With the South's defeat, the federal government asserted its authority over the states, marking a shift in the balance of power. In the end, the Civil War did more than just end slavery. It reshaped the identity of the United States, molding it into a nation committed to unity and equality. It was a painful chapter in the country's history, but it was also a transformative one. The Civil War, while devastating, ultimately strengthened the United States and reinforced its commitment to unity and equality. What event tested the resilience of the American people and shaped economic policies for decades to come? This question takes us back to the late 20s and 30s, a period marked by the Great Depression, a catastrophic economic downturn that shook the United States to its core. The Great Depression began in 1929, following a devastating stock market crash that sent shockwaves across the nation. This crash wasn't a solitary event. It was the domino that toppled an already unstable economic structure. Over-speculation on stocks, coupled with a lack of regulatory oversight, had created a financial bubble that was bound to burst. And when it did, it plunged the nation into a deep and prolonged economic crisis. The effects were immediate and far-reaching. Unemployment soared as businesses shuttered their doors, unable to cope with the economic downturn. Millions of Americans found themselves jobless, their dreams and aspirations shattered. Poverty spread like wildfire, casting a dark shadow over the American dream. But this period of hardship was not just a time of despair. It was also a time of resilience. It tested the mettle of the American people, and they responded with an indomitable spirit that refused to be extinguished. The Great Depression also set the stage for significant changes in government policy and economic regulation. The government, under President Franklin D. Roosevelt, implemented a series of reforms known as the New Deal. These reforms aimed at providing relief for the unemployed, recovery of the economy, and reform of the financial system to prevent a similar catastrophe in the future. These measures, while not without their critics, played a pivotal role in pulling the nation out of the Great Depression. They also marked a shift in the role of the government in managing the economy, setting a precedent for future economic policies. The Great Depression was a time of immense hardship, but it also led to important reforms that have shaped the U.S. economy. This period serves as a stark reminder of the resilience of the American people and the power of thoughtful strategic policymaking in shaping the destiny of a nation. What period in U.S. history marked a significant advancement in civil rights? A question that brings us to the tumultuous yet transformative era of the 1960s, the time of the civil rights movement. This was a decade that witnessed profound change and intense struggle, all in the name of equality and justice. During this time, landmark legislations like the Civil Rights Act of 1964 and the Voting Rights Act of 1965 were passed. The Civil Rights Act outlawed discrimination based on race, color, religion, sex, or national origin, while the Voting Rights Act prohibited racial discrimination in voting. These were monumental steps towards dismantling the deeply entrenched racial segregation and discrimination that had plagued the nation for centuries. These events did more than just change laws. They shaped America's identity. They affirmed the nation's commitment to equality, justice, and the inherent dignity of all its citizens. The impact of these laws continues to reverberate throughout the country, influencing its policies and social fabric even today. The civil rights movement was a powerful demonstration of the nation's commitment to equality and justice. What recent event has had a profound impact on the United States and the world? A moment that immediately comes to mind is the September 11, 2001 terrorist attacks. This day of infamy shook the nation and the world, causing an immense loss of life and leading to the declaration of the War on Terror. In the immediate aftermath, the United States and other nations united in grief and resolve, pledging to combat terrorism on a global scale. Over the long term, these attacks brought about significant changes in national security policies, with a heightened focus on surveillance and intelligence gathering. Internationally, the repercussions were vast. Relations between countries were reshaped, alliances were tested, and America's role in the world was fundamentally altered. The War on Terror has had far-reaching implications, influencing geopolitical strategies and international relations to this day. The September 11th attacks were a tragic event that has had a lasting impact on the United States and the world.
Let's learn new words and practice English with the topic, Key Dates in U.S. History at B2 level. Independence. Independence, the state of being free from outside control, not subject to another's authority. Example, July 4, 1776, marks the date of American independence when the Declaration of Independence was adopted. Constitution. Constitution, a body of fundamental principles or established precedents according to which a state or other organization is acknowledged to be governed. Example, the United States Constitution was ratified on September 17, 1787, providing the framework for federal government and fundamental laws. Abolition. Abolition, the action or an act of abolishing a system, practice, or institution, especially slavery. Example, the 13th Amendment, which marked the abolition of slavery, was ratified on December 6, 1865. Suffrage. Suffrage, the right to vote in political elections. Example, the 19th Amendment, granting women's suffrage, was ratified on August 18, 1920. Civil rights. Civil rights, the rights of citizens to political and social freedom and equality. Example, the Civil Rights Act, a landmark law that outlawed discrimination based on race, color, religion, sex, or national origin, was signed into law on July 2, 1964.
Thank you for watching. Like, write a comment of more than 4 words to support us, and subscribe to the channel so as not to miss new videos. Goodbye.